I bought a spinning wheel. I don't know how to use one. I went on Facebook Marketplace and there was a lovely lady in a nearby town selling a beautiful Camelot spinning wheel. This is made in New Zealand, I believe, in around the 1970s. She was selling it on behalf of her mum and I couldn't pass it up. So I picked it up. It's been sitting at my house for a couple of weeks and I think today's the day. It's time to learn how to use it. But before I can do that, I was mucking around, learning how to treadle. So many new words I'm learning. And I realized that the drive band here is not properly attached. So this big wheel spins, but this flyer and bobbin do not spin, and they're supposed to. So before I even get started, I'm going to need to do some repairs or getting this thing set up and learning how it works. Then it's time to spin some yarn. And I didn't own any fibre, so I went ahead and ordered myself something to practice with. So I started with this beautiful bright green Corriedale. This is from Ashford. I've got 100 grams of it. I hear that it's good for beginner spinners and it's relatively cheap, so I don't feel too bad about using it. And then I've also got myself some exciting variegated yarns to look forward to spinning, hopefully once I've got the hang of it. So I have some blue-faced Leicester and some polybloth. So yeah, that's going to be my weekend plans. And I'm going to take you guys with me, so let's go. So the major issue that I can see with this drive belt is that this is a double drive wheel, which means this band goes around the big wheel and then it needs to go over both the bobbin and the flyer. There's two strings, but for some reason this one's only currently around one of those. And so there's too much slack and it's not spinning. But I think I've just figured out how to unscrew this. Oh, I might have done it. Okay, good. This is good. I didn't unscrew it in the end. I have no idea how to get this bobbin off, so that's a future charm problem. But what I can tell is that this string is way too loose, so I'm gonna tighten it. I can feel a little knot here, so I think what I'll do is I'll just tie a new knot. Unfortunately, it's not like enough slack to totally cut it and retie it. I feel like I won't have enough to make a knot, so alright, that was all a bit too hard. The string was too short, so I couldn't tie a new knot. I tried taping it, I tried tying it with a band, and it just didn't work. So I found some cotton from my stash and I'm just going to cut myself off a nice long piece and I'm going to tie myself a new drive belt. I think I've done something I wasn't supposed to do in that these strings are crossing over. But you know what? I don't care. This is fun. I like that I chose variegated yarn for this drive belt because I don't know if you can see, but it's actually kind of striping through the colours. So it helps me to see what's spinning, which is cool. Now, based on what I've seen, and I have to thank Gillian Eve for her website and her YouTube videos for teaching me this, the next thing I need to practice is using this leader yarn, which is kind of already tied onto the bobbin. Pull it through the flyer, I think, and practice kind of giving the yarn to the bobbin and feeding it and getting the hang of, you know, pedaling while also feeding the wheel. So I've got some spare yarn. I think you can practice with already spun yarn just to do that motion. But I think the first thing I need to do is to feed this yarn over some of these hooks and through the flyer. That is not enough yarn, so I'm going to add some more. There we go. I have some yarn through here. Am I doing it? I'm doing it! That is yarn on the bobbin. Yes! Alright, I have been experimenting, practicing, and I think I've got the hang of this now, and I reckon the best way forward is just to grab some of this fibre and give it a go. Learn by trying. I'm an impatient person, so I really want to get stuck into it. So let's see what happens. Now, from my reading, I understand that a common way to do this is called a Z twist, and that is when you wind the singles in a clockwise direction, and then when you ply, you wind the other way. So that's what I'm gonna do. I do find it a bit tricky to get the wheel spinning in the exact direction that I want, so we'll see if that gets any easier as I go along, or it could be to do with the experimental drive band for the time being. And from what I have seen, I basically pull out my fibre, which is so gorgeous. It's really soft. And I think I'm just gonna, whoa, okay, it unfolds. I think I'm just gonna leave it in this kind of big, what is this called? I don't know. I'm gonna leave it like this, and from what I've seen, you take the leader yarn and you basically get it spinning and you attach some yarn. And it's important to keep my fingers pinched to let the twist build up between my fingers and the machine, and then once I feel like it's twisted enough, I can feed it into the machine and then pull my fingers back and go like that. So let's try it out. Okay. Failure. Let's try again. So I think what's happening here is I'm letting the twist get a bit too high up, so it's kind of all getting matted. So I'm going to try to pinch my fingers a little bit tighter and see if that helps. I also might be pedaling too fast and feeding the yarn in too slowly because it's really, really twisty. Okay, let's keep trying. I think I'm doing it. I'm doing it! Oh. Making it a bit too thin. Okay, so yeah, it is really important to keep the fingers pinched and don't let that twist kind of get all up in this piece of fibre that I'm holding. Oh my gosh, the level of multitasking I'm doing right now is insane. I think I'm spinning it too thin. Oh my gosh. It's happening. It's happening. Oh, I broke it. But look at that. I spun this. So I think I'll just pull this back out and try again, I guess. Oh, something's going on here. I have a feeling I'm overspinning it because this is kind of going crazy. So maybe I need to be feeding it in more often. But guys, I don't want to talk too soon, but this is this is going really well. Okay, let's try again. There's a lot of coordination to like get the hands and the wheel and everything moving and not let the spin get up in the fibre. It's pretty full on. Alright, so I have just figured out that clearly I'm over twisting and I've kind of got this, I don't know, lock of fibre that I can't really do anything with now. And I was trying to manually untwist it, but I actually realised I can just spin the wheel the other way and get some of this twist out. So I think that's actually working surprisingly well. Yeah, cool. Oh, I went too far. Oh well. But yeah, that's a really quick way of doing it. So I don't think it's totally a lost cause if you have kind of matted it up by over spinning it. I think my bobbin and flyer are slipping a little bit, so I'm going to stop here, take a little break, and I'm still really proud of this so far, and I'm going to figure out why this isn't working in a little while, and then keep going. I'm really surprised by the sheer amount of fleece that like 100 grams actually is. It's a huge volume and it all fit in this tiny little bag. So based on the speed I'm going, this is going to take me quite some time. So here's where I got to last night. I kept spinning until way later than I should have. And I'm really, really pleased with how it's going. I've kind of got the hang of it now. I think I've kind of figured out all the mistakes I was making. And I also figured out that there is a tension sort of system here. This little, I don't know, what is this, decorative knob actually unscrews and it is attached to the end of the bobbin here. So I believe when you unscrew it, it lowers this and this actually decreases the tension on the band. But you can take it all the way off and then this whole thing comes off. So I reckon that's how you get the bobbin out later on. So now I need to figure out how much yarn I actually want to spin. I've got 100 grams of fibre. I'm surprised by how much that is. I don't know how much I've spun just yet. So I think I'm going to do a little bit more and then I'm going to weigh the remaining fibre and see how far I've gotten and kind of stop at a natural stopping point. And then I'll figure out how to put on a fresh bobbin and I'll spin the same amount for another single because then the goal is to learn how to ply the two together. We'll see how far I get and I'll keep you guys updated. Now I definitely have to figure out how to make this wheel quieter because currently it is making yeah, like you. I think it's coming from the flyer here. So when that annoys me enough, I will figure out what kind of lubricant it needs and where to put it. And something else I'm going to try for today's spin is to break this fibre into half lengthways so that I'm not working with such a big piece that I have to keep pulling from different parts of it. So I think I'm going to split it kind of vertically like this and we'll see how that goes. It's stopped turning. Another thing I forgot to mention that I did was move the drive band to this larger... Did I? Oh my god, I swear last night I moved this drive band to the larger of the two walls, but it's back on the smaller one. And it did just lose tension, so maybe it slipped off. Anyway, apparently on the larger one, it means the flyer spins less frequently compared to the bobbin, so it puts less spin on the yarn. So I think that's why I was having such a problem with the spin, and now that I mention it, it's back on the small one and I've got a lot of spin again. So I'm still getting the hang of exactly how this whole setup works, but I mean, I'm pretty happy with the consistency of this and I'm having heaps and heaps of fun. It's definitely easier with a thinner little fibre bunch, so I'll keep doing that for a little while and we'll see how much I can get on this bobbin. So I think I'm going to put the rest of the fibre that I haven't spun into this bowl on a set of scales and see if I can get an idea of how much I have left. It says 86 grams. Have I only spun 15 grams? Oh my god. Okay, I'm going to keep going then. I just got home from work and my hair's wet because it is pouring rain. The walk home got me absolutely drenched. But I actually find the weather kind of peaceful, so I've decided to come and sit out on my front porch for the final stage of my yarn spinning journey, and that is plying my 2 bobbins together. I finished my second bobbin on this side yesterday, and I think it shows a little bit of improvement. So in the first one there are a few more irregularities compared to the new one, but really I mean I actually think I started out pretty consistent from the get-go. I did weigh this, so I spun 43 grams on my first bobbin, so I tried to spin 43 grams on my second bobbin. I tried to leave behind 14 grams of my fibre, but I think I had a little bit more than 100 grams of fibre because this weighs in a little bit more. So the actual bobbins themselves weigh 61 grams, this one weighs about 104 grams, and this one weighs something like 112 grams. Either way, I hope the yardage is pretty equivalent. I don't know what people usually do to make sure that they get the same yardage on both of their bobbins. Anyway, the final step, of course, is going to be plying this together. So I'm going to do a 2-ply yarn, and my spinning wheel has a built-in lazy Kate where I can prop these bobbins up, and then I can pull these 2 singles together, and I'm going to actually spin anti-clockwise this time and twist them into a 2-ply yarn. And if I had to estimate, I would say that the first bobbin took me about 2 hours to spin and the second one about 1.5 hours. So I do think I'm speeding up a little bit. I think that's all. Let's get these loaded up and start spinning the final yarn. I'm really excited about it. I don't know how people stop the ends of the bobbins kind of like coming loose, so if you have any tips, let me know. Okay, this is the best bit by far. This is so much fun. It's going really quickly. I have no idea if I'm overplying. Sometimes it feels a little bit like I am, but I figure I can fix that later, maybe. And it's just too much fun, so I don't want to stop. So I'm gonna see how long this takes me. I think I'm probably like a third of the way through in about 10 minutes. So anyway, I'm so proud of this bit I just did. Also, I found that keeping the singles separate is quite important, and so you need to kind of have a finger back here holding them apart. And actually, the further back I hold it, the better it is, because clearly I've overspun some of these singles and there's these kind of little ropey sections where it's doubled back on itself. And if I hold it back here, it allows those to stretch out and kind of redistribute a little bit. So I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but it's looking pretty good. But you can kind of see up here, maybe I'm overplying a little because it's still kind of doubling back on itself somewhat. So we'll see if that all comes out in the final kind of soaking, I guess. And that's a wrap on spinning my first ever skein of yarn. I'm so proud of how this turned out. I can't believe I made this, and it's only been 4 days since I started. I think this might be my first time owning a 2-ply yarn, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's quite like lumpy and bumpy. That's probably partially because I'm a beginner to hand spinning, but I think that's also just kind of how 2-ply looks. But in terms of the execution, I feel really, really happy with this. There are some sections in here that I think are so consistent. Some of these sections, both of the singles were clearly exactly the same size, and so it looks really even. And even the sections that are kind of thick and thin, I don't hate the way that looks. It feels really nice, a little bit ropier than I kind of thought it would. I think that's partially because I slightly overspun the singles and I slightly overplied it. So I think that contributes to that feeling. The areas where I maybe spun a little less are much softer feeling. I actually don't think that this was super overspun after all. So let me undo this for you. After washing, it now hangs pretty much straight. And I hear that if the skein twists on itself a lot, that means you've spun it too much in one direction. But yeah, this is pretty straight, and when I kind of fold the yarn back in on itself, it doesn't kink up anymore. So I kind of think I nailed it. So even those little sections that kind of double back on themselves in the singles weren't the end of the world. There are definitely some sections that are more tightly spun than others. Like here, you can kind of see, not great consistency wise, but I think that will improve with time. And for my first ever project, I'm so happy with it. I really like the way this Corriedale feels. I don't think I have any of this fibre in my collection. It's quite soft, but not like a superwash merino kind of soft. I think I'd quite happily wear this in a jumper against my skin. I just weighed this too, and I ended up with just shy of 90 grams of yarn. So I have about 14 grams of fibre left, and I'm not sure if I'll either practice my spinning techniques with it or give it to a friend to use for one of their crafting projects. And now I have this skein of what I'm estimating to be maybe DK weight yarn, maybe a worsted weight. I have 100 grams of it and I don't know what to do with it. So if you have any project ideas for my first ever handspun yarn, let me know. I think I'm going to make a little keychain just to kind of sample what it looks like, and then maybe a beanie or some gloves. I'm not sure. Might just go in my collection for a while so I can be proud of it, because I am very proud of it. I had so much fun learning how to spin. The learning curve was quite steep, but ultimately pretty short. It took me just a couple of tries for each step to figure out kind of how it should be done and what mistakes I was making. And if you're willing to kind of try and fail a few times, I think almost anyone could figure this kind of thing out. I'm really looking forward to spinning with my other fibre that I bought. Here's a better look at those. I've got this Polwarth with neps, they're purple and blue. And I have this blue face Leicester. It is a variegated blue and brown. It's really hard to capture. It's very, very subtle. And I don't know which one to do next. So give me recommendations. Blue face Leicester, Polwarth, maybe other fibre types I should try out. I will be going to a fibre festival in a few weeks, so I'm definitely going to be buying some more there. I've got a busy month coming up, so I think I'll probably just keep spinning to be a weekend activity when I have a couple of free hours. Nothing crazy, especially while I've got so many knitting projects still waiting to be finished. But yeah, I love the transportability of the wheel. I loved sitting outside. That was very peaceful and relaxing. I liked that once I fixed the squeaking wheel, I was able to do it while watching TV or watching a movie pretty easily. And I think it's going to make it more affordable for me to try out some more unique fibre blends. And of course, making custom yarn exactly to my specifications. I can do self-striping, I can dye my own fibre and then spin that up. So many things. But mostly I'm just excited to have learnt a new skill. I really hope you enjoyed following me along for this journey. If you learnt anything, let me know. If you have any tips for me because you're an experienced spinner, also please let me know. And until I see you guys again very soon, happy knitting and spinning.